I will be doing my project on Edmund Kemper. Edmund Kemper was born December the 18th, 1948. He lived in Burbank, California with his parents, Carnell Stage, and his father, E.E. And his mother was a teacher on campus, and his father went to the military. And after he went to the military, he had become an electrician to help feed the family. He had two sisters, and Edmund Kemper was always a big dude, even when he was a child. He used to get picked on by the kids at school, and his mama would continue to nag him. His parents divorced in 1957, and that was one of the main things that hit Kemper hard because his mother was nagging and he couldn't take it anymore. So he had a dark side, and he would tear off the doll heads of his sisters. He would take off the heads of his sisters' dolls, and he also had buried their cat alive, and he had took the dead corpse of the cat, and put it in his room, and he would play with it. And he also told his sister he liked his school teacher, and when he told her that, she was like, "Why don't you just kiss her?" And he was like, "She would have to be dead before I do that." So Edmund Kemper used to play. He also used to play gas chamber with his sisters. They would throw a little ball up under the door, and he would pretend like he was choking and dying. Also, Edmund Kemper was very. He wasn't very fond of his mother because she would also lock him in the basement away from the family because she knew Kemper wasn't normal. Also, Kemper she sent Kemper to his grandparents, and she sent him over there, and Kemper's grandmother was just like his mother, very nagging and will always be on him. And so he had shot her in the back of the head while she was in the kitchen. He also stabbed her multiple times, and he also killed his grandfather when he had pulled up to the house because he didn't want his grandfather to see his dead wife. And after that, they had sent him to a psychiatric. Let me see how to say this. A psychiatric care, and he was released when he was 21 or 22 because he had showed good results that he was doing good, and he would have good test scores, and he also showed that he was a good person. He would hide his other personality because Edmund Kemper had schizophrenia. Hope I said that right too. Also, and when he was released, Edmund Kemper went to his mother's, but she didn't want him, so he had got his own apartment because when he was younger, he got sent to his father's, but his father didn't want him anymore because Edmund, Edmund had got a whole lot of rage because he thought he was going to have to compete for his father because his father had a stepson and he had a wife. So he had a new family, so Edmund Kemper didn't like that. He got kicked out of there. And after he got released, he got his apartment. And when he got his apartment, that's when the killing started because Edmund Kemper couldn't hide his dark personality any longer. But he would hang out at the bar with a whole bunch of police officers, so he had gained their trust, and they called him Big Ed because he was 300 pounds, he's 6'10", he was a big dude. Also, Edmund Kemper would the way he would lure his victims was he would get them when they're hitchhiking trying to find a ride, and it was mostly female targets because his mother was the main target. So he wanted to kill her, but he didn't get her yet. So he would kill teenage females that was in college, and the reason why he gained their trust was because he had a sticker for campus that his mother had gave to him, and he had put it on the car, and females would trust him and ride with him. But Edmund Kemper had made a mistake one time, and he had locked the inside. He had locked the way he had did it. It's like you can't get out, but he can get out on his side. He would lock the inside of the car, and also he had one of his victims in there, and he had locked himself out because he had went to the trunk, and he could have got caught, but that's what Edmund Kemper had became being careful with what he was doing, and also the way he would kill his victims. He would shoot them, strangle them, and after he would do that, he would rape the dead corpse of his victims. And Edmund Kemper also would take the dead bodies and he would separate the body parts, and he took the head to his house. And one day he had hid uh, one of his victims' head in his mother's backyard, and he went to go purchase a gun, but they had put up his past records when he killed his grandparents, so they was alarmed by that. So they sent one of the rookie police officers to his house to take the gun, and that's what Edmund Kemper had became very paranoid. So Edmund Kemper would just be paranoid about everything. He had stopped killing, and then when he had realized he felt like the police officers were getting closer to him, they was more focused on the case of the killings. He had killed his mother, and he had also killed her friend, and he had smashed her head in with a hammer, and he had threw the hammer in his sink, and he caught her friend, he strangled her friend, and he left and vanished to Vermont, and he had called the police officers and told them that he had killed all them females that died, and he also killed his mother. And then after that, they didn't believe him the first time he called, and the second time he called, they came and got him to ask where he was, and that was in Vermont, and they had came and got him, and they had recorded his interrogation, and he went to trial and was found guilty on first degree murder on all 8 accounts, and he also was asked by the judge what should his punishment be, and he told the judge tortured to death. And he also today he is in a medical facility in Vacaville. I think that's how you say that. But yeah, Edmund Kemper was also called the co-killer, and that's all about him.